Okay, so within the discussion of several important topics on climatic change were addressed, some related to the question and others that go further, focusing it as social economics and above all environmental problems that directly affect us all inconsciently, and that although people don't believe it, is related to each of their action related to their way of life. It's important to mention that the perspective of each participant are complementary to find the general idea of the discussion. Science, the approach to seeing climatic change as a way to strengthen the use of ecological energies to generate energy solutions, to the importance that protected areas have to curbing climatic change being somewhat complicated to categorize but an open reality that the people ignore, in relation to which are the major reason for uncertainty about climatic change among the participants. The best answer were people ignore the problems, despite being somewhat obviously it's something that they still don't fully believe. The human influence on ideas accepted solely from the science approach. It's a problem due to a false belief about the evidence, despite the fact that when the people notice the changes, they continue to ignore them and be insecure or sarcastic about the subject. To this is added the problem of misinformation, false information, and even dishonesty between the ideas presented by scientists. Science, although it's something that shall be presented in the same way, it's not done that way. And we must be careful with this, especially when social networks are involved, because this is a problem that create great conflicts in society. Another big problem is the perspective of each vague mental focus and close to ideas and attached to your lifestyle, being difficult to change all the things around someone to something that is essential for the future when the person only lives in the present of this. And this is because people get attached to the idea of not believing in something that they don't consider tangible, being a matter of perception and falling back on the phrase climatic change is true, but I'm not going to sacrifice my soul above for that. And the most difficult thing to change is behavior science when the psychological factor is paramount in relation to how the person wants to feel. Everything else in secondary. In another way, I agree with the idea that today all branches of science research shall rotate or include issues related to the current climatic crisis. This is because, as the sake of discussion, climatic change is something that shall be induced in every conversation, obviously within certain limits where it's not boundary of the other person. But it's important to talk about this because of the importance and relevance it has on science, biodiversity, and well-being for future generations. It's important that within all branches process it and work in order to understand and communicate to others what is happening in an easy way and with good branding. Science, in the end, this is a business, although it's difficult to for us to see it like this, but it's really, and therefore it's better to propose effective strategies with the recent topic that makes economic, social, environmental perspective to achieve a common objective. And finally, in my opinion, carbon capture and storage (CCS) is a young key technology rising today that seeks to reduce the carbon dioxide emission in a long term, trying to mitigate environmental damage. And maybe possibly it's for that very reason it's that it has not yet managed to demonstrate many results around the world, but I consider that it's only a matter of time to see its consequence will allow us to safely stage that its results are effective. Although for now it's a possible key technology. And despite this, it's important to say that it can also possibly be used as a tool to protect extractive industries. Uh, Although so far no many problems have been here except for certain controversial cases by environmental activists. As I mentioned to discussing, it's important to say that at least in the short term, it has been demonstrated that CCS can mitigate processes such as fracking being beneficial to the planet. And in addition, it's important to mention that within the issues, the political part play an essential role because, after all, when speaking of an economic approach, the use of environmental policies and the care of environmental from government. Thank you.